And in this video, I'm going to be explaining variables in Swift programming. So let's get started. So just first and foremost, in this video, I'm going to be using Swift Playgrounds and Learn to Code 2. So I've done a whole series on all of the different coding elements in Learn to Code. So we've now switched over to Learn to Code 2. So if you don't have Swift Playgrounds or know how to get Learn to Code or anything like that, then I do have some videos on my channel that will help you be able to download and use Swift Playgrounds and Learn to Code as well. So this video we're talking about variables. So Learn to Code 2 starts with variables. So this is a real core concept of programming. But first things first, what is a variable? You can see we've got a little bit of an introduction here. So it talks about the names and phone numbers that you store in your contact list. Okay, so whenever we store something on our phone, so if we add a new contact, we add that new contact, that creates a little bit of space on our phone to store that phone number. And we don't just have a list of phone numbers, we actually then give that phone number a name. Okay, so we give it the person's name. So that person's name is now storing that phone number. And that's essentially how variables work. We declare a variable, that creates us a bit of space, and then we can store a value in it. And just like you could go into your phone and you could change someone's phone number if their number changed, a variable can change throughout your program. Another really good example of looking at variables and how they're used in programming are scores in games. So if we've got a score in a game, we know it's going to start at 0, but we don't know what the score is going to end at, and it's going to consistently change as the game goes on. So that means that we're going to need somewhere to store our score value and consistently change it. And that's where variables come in. So I'm going to go and click over here, and I'm going to jump to the first activity. So here we are on this first activity page. And essentially what we're being asked to do is create a variable, move forward and collect a gem, and then change the value of that variable. So you can see here that we have a variable already declared. So to declare a variable using Swift UI, you have to use var. So that tells our program we want to create a variable. We then give it a name. So like when we're naming other parts of our code, we want to make sure that that name is relevant. So we're creating something to count the number of gems we have. So our variable called gem counter. So the first instruction says to set this gem counter variable to 0. So there we go. Next, it says move to the gem and pick it up. So it looks like we need to move forward twice and then collect our gem. So the final thing it says is to set the value of gem counter to 1. So if I go and start typing my variable, you'll notice that I'm not putting var. So we only need to put var when we're declaring the variable. When we just want to assign it a new value, once it's already been declared, we don't need to add the var. We can just write the name of the variable. So let's go ahead and run that code quickly, and fingers crossed that's going to be successful. All right, great. So you can see here we declared a variable, we collected a gem, and then we changed the value stored inside that variable from 0 to 1. So let's go ahead and try that on a different challenge. So let's go to incrementing the value. So here we're asked to assign gem counter a beginning value of 0, which is the same as we did in the last task. But essentially with this one, instead of assigning a new value each time, what we want to do is increment. So we want to take the value that's already stored and just increase that value by 1. And it has an example of how you do that up here. So it says my number is my number plus 1. So what that means is whatever value is already stored, add 1 to it. So what it says here is write code to check for a gem on each tile, and wherever there's a gem, collect it and increment the gem counter value by 1. So it sounds quite simple. We'll have to use a few of the other things that we've learned before because we've got a few corners that we need to navigate. So as with most puzzle worlds, we'll look at what's at the end. So at the end here, we're just sort of completely blocked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a while loop. So I'm going to say while is not blocked. And I'm going to add my code in there. So that should get us all the way around to here where he's eventually blocked in front. So it's saying while is not blocked, what we obviously want to do, we want to move forward, and then we want to check is if is on gem, then that's where we want to collect the gem, and we want to change our gem counter to gem counter. We're assigning it, and that's one important note. You'll notice that I haven't said equals. So that equal sign in coding is actually the assignment operator. So it's not an equal sign, we're assigning a value to our variable. But that's gem counter, we're assigning it gem counter plus 1. The last thing we're going to want to do is navigate around these corners. So I'm just going to add another if statement. So I'm going to say if is blocked and is blocked left, so in front and over here, then we want to turn right. All right, so let's go ahead and run that code, and fingers crossed it will work. So essentially what should happen here is we should have, by moving forward, using the if statement to check if he's on a gem. If he is, collecting it, adding that value to our variable, okay? So you can see that we have incremented our value now. So we don't have to assign it a new value over time. We can just say when we collect something, add 1. So again, if you're playing a game, if you shoot an enemy, add 1 to the score. So I hope this video has been useful. If it has, please give the video a like, comment below, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video.